of the total population, 13.1, was estimated affected by the typhoon, from which 3.4 was displaced and more than 5,000 people died. 100 days after Haiyan, the government, in collaboration with the Shelter Cluster Philippines, estimated that 1.1 million houses were damaged, from which 550,000 were partially damaged and 580,000 houses were totally damaged. I choose Tacloban because it was one of the most affected areas. The typhoon went from west to east in a counterclockwise direction, creating a bottleneck on the strait, creating waves of 7 to 9 meters. So in Tacloban, out of 228,147 people, approximately the 90% of the houses were damaged, the 75 were partially damaged, and the 50% were completely damaged, totally destroyed. The constraints I found from the sheltering response is that lots of people don't own the land where their houses are, and the government has established a no-build area of 40 meters from the coast where more than 14,000 families live. So the humanitarian sector cannot intervene there. The Philippine society is not waiting for the humanitarian actors to receive the support, but is starting to rebuild by themselves, which is good, but at the same time is creating poor construction techniques, also because the low quality of the materials and the rising of the prices. The humanitarian response has managed to give a 40% of emergency shelters and planned a 10% more, and just a 1% of support for self-recovery shelter. They are planning a 13% more. The humanitarian support divides into the not displaced people, which one of them will have support for self-recovery shelter in means of toolkits, materials, training, and sometimes cash. And some NGOs are doing transitional shelters. For the displaced, the government has built some bank houses. They are building 356. And permanent housing in collaboration with many NGOs for around more than 14,000 families. We did some interviews to the communities, so from the families affected, a 50% had received tents, a 50% had received toolkits, and a 95% were going to rebuild their houses by themselves in the urban area. In the rural area, just a 25% of the families interviewed had received emergency shelters. No one had received toolkits, and 50% were going to rebuild their houses by themselves. The other 50 with local contractors. We meet some organizations. CRS is planning to build transitional shelters. They are planning to build 10,000 out of cocoa lumber, bamboo walling, and CGI seeds. They will build with the community, and the construction of each prototype will last 3 days. ADRA is going to give support for self-recovery shelter in means of tools, materials, and training for 2,500 households, and Habitat for Humanity, in collaboration with the government, is going to build 1,000 houses with the government. The City Housing and Community Development Office is building bank houses and is planning to build 14,000 permanent shelters in collaboration with many NGOs, but they still don't have all the funding for it, and they haven't started. The technical conclusions I found is that there is no quality control in the materials, the cocoa lumber is not being treated, They don't make difference in where they get it from, if from young or from old trees. The hollow blocks, sometimes they mix it with salty water, and the CGI seeds are thinner than they should be. Even though the hipped roof is a much better option for a typhoon-prone area, mostly they are using pitch roof. Sometimes they are not using bracing, or they are not using full-length bracing also. So the role of Cambridge in this is collaborating with ADRA in creating a poster of how to build with coconut lumber to train the community, designing a transitional shelter, for Habitat for Humanity, designing a permanent shelter for the future, and for CRS, evaluating their shelter. Thank you very much.